So I'm here with Tej Kohli and his wife Isabelle to talk about some of the work that he's doing. So first up, Isabelle, would you like to tell me a little bit about what the Tej Kohli Foundation does?
Certainly, Jane. So I am the co-chair of the Kohli Family Foundation, which comes under the umbrella of the Tej Kohli Foundation, and this was developed by Tej about 4 years ago to specifically help cure cataract blindness in the third world. So we have worked with a surgeon called Dr. Sanduk Ruit, who pioneered a new technique which involves cauterizing the wound. When they cut into the eye, cut the cataract out, they put the intraocular lens in, and then instead of a stitch, there's no stitches, it's just cauterization. So that's his technique. We started with Nepal, Bhutan, and now we're rolling out globally. We're going to go to Indonesia, Africa, and if someone can't pay, we will help them. It cost us about $50, that's the amortized cost. But if that person were to go to America, should they be able to afford it, it would cost them about $2,000. And there really is no difference in the operation they get there and the one that we give them. And the lens is the same. We have the factory in Tilganga and we manufacture the lenses ourselves to keep the costs down.
So you must have some amazing stories to tell of the work that you're doing and the difference it's making to people's lives. Share some of that with us.
Certainly. So actually the first camp I went to, which was in Nepal, I met this gentleman called Krishna. He was there with his wife. He's early 30s and he'd been blind with cataracts on both eyes for about 15 years. And when him and his wife turned up, we spoke to his wife via a translator, and she was telling us how she was raising 3 children, working the land, and then also looking after her husband. And the 2 younger children couldn't go to school unless the older child helped them get to school, but unfortunately sometimes she needed his help working the land, so her children couldn't always go to school. And yeah, that was a quite sad story. But then we went back the next day for the bandage reveal, and she honestly looked 10 years younger from the relief of her husband having his sight back. There was a joyous atmosphere. He'd got his life back, and not only did we help Krishna, we also helped 6 people when we helped one person. So we helped the 5 closest people around him. So apart from the births of my children, it was probably the most moving thing I've ever experienced. And that was my first eye camp in Nepal.
Now, we have many forms of blindness. Cornea is probably the most difficult operation. It costs about $1,500 or pounds or whatever per operation. And also, you need donor cornea to remove the cornea and do it. So cataracts is much easier to work on cornea. So I, of course, being me, I wanted to do the most difficult form. So we got into cornea blindness, and I was there when, under our banner, we did the first one. And that was a guy who was 54 years old or 55 years old, and he had never seen in his life. Never. He was born blind, and he had never seen his wife. And he had 2 children, 22 and 20 years old. And I was in the room when we opened the bandages, and for the first time he saw his wife and 2 children. Now, if that doesn't move you, then I don't know what does. I mean, that interaction, and we moved away, and he was saying, "Are you this?" He's telling his wife her name, whatever her name was. She says yes, and she was crying, and the 2 boys were stunned that their dad could see them. So, "Are you my 2 boys?" And they were grown up, and he had never seen them. So, there are stories like that. And then I said, we want to do more. And so we got deeply involved in this. And then we got involved with the biggest eye hospital in the world, L.V. Prasad, part of which is named after me now, Tej Kohli Cornea Institute. And so there we started getting very heavily involved in that process. But cornea has a problem. Cornea's problem is that you have to get somebody to die, and within 6 hours you have to take the cornea out and bank it. Within 6 hours. So we have all the volunteers in all the hospitals going around trying to find someone who's deceased. It's very hard to go up to their family and say, "Can we take your cornea out?" I mean, that's not the easiest job, but that was the only form. So that led me to then look into other things, like we got involved with Harvard Medical School, donated a couple of million to them. We got a way to create artificial cornea, because it's not enough, because we have such a long waiting list of cornea blindness, and donor cornea alone can't do it. So we got involved with some doctors, some scientists, actually one scientist, her name is Dr. May Griffith, she's a preeminent in this one field. She created a biosynthetic cornea for us, which was made of yeast. And that had a high rejection rate, and when you put it, cornea is much more complicated than cataracts. Cataracts is simple. You have cataracts, you remove it, you put the inocular lens. So they did that, and that didn't work. It had 20% acceptance rates, 80 rejection. Then we went to peptides, then we went to liquid cornea. So we tried to improve with Harvard's help and prevention. Then we came up with a prevention program. Cornea is not easy program. Then I met Dr. Ruit, and I decided that numbers are much more in our favor. We can do millions of surgeries like this, and I'm open to more than 1 million if we can speed things up a little bit. And the problem we have is a lack of non-doctors with Dr. Ruit's team, who can go to these different countries and make this, accepted, our foundation accepted. Dr. Ruit himself has won every possible award in the world, and we have been recipients with him, every possible award in the world. So his reputation is good. Ours is now, we are coming into full force. I think cataracts gives us more bang for the buck in terms of number of cures that we can do.
So what are your shared ambitions for the Tej Kohli Foundation going forward?
Well, we are on the path to cure 1 million people. We have made a big dent into that number already. And we are thinking of, going more worldwide than being just in the Southeast Asia. We were recently in Ghana. We are going to Colombia. We are going to Indonesia, which is by far the most hit by cataracts in the world. Per capita, it's, I think, by far bigger than even Bangladesh, which is the next biggest, I believe. And so this is our calling. There are 200 million, and I mean 200 million people impaired by cataracts illness in the world. And out of the 200 million, yes, some of them can see through one eye, or there's some, they're not fully blind, but fully blind are also quite a few. And then a lot of work needs to be done, beyond, let's say, my life. Isabelle, I think, wants to continue on this thing. I hope she does, with my kids and her kids, and we can all step in and cause a big dent in this. I think we can. You agree, Tommy?
I agree, yeah, that's the target, 1 million to cure, 1 million of cataract blindness in Tej's lifetime, and then I'll carry it on with the children. God forbid anything happens to him.
So what's the one piece of advice that you'd give to governments in these developing countries to help end preventable blindness?
So Jane, let me just tell you, the funniest thing that I found is that every time you go there, you need the help of the government. You cannot just go in and approach a hospital and say, I want to do as many surgeries as you have, how many ever poor people are. I mean, at the end of the day, Isabelle and I feel strongly that this is a poverty diminishing or mitigating or eliminating issue. That is our mandate, is to help end poverty also. It's not only blindness. With that comes, poverty ending. Most of these people are poor because of they're blind and they can't afford an operation. So what's funny is that the governments are very suspicious when a company like our, a group like our, NGO like us, I don't know, whatever you want to call us, go in there And this happened in Ghana, for instance. The first thing is, what do you want in return? We want nothing in return. We just want to eliminate this disease, and we'll pay for it all. We can't believe it. You must have a hidden agenda. You are a businessman. You want something in return. Nothing in return. So we have a group of people now under a new thing that Isabelle and I have formed, headed by Dr. Manmeet Singh, who they go in there and they talk to people, they talk to hospitals, and they get the hospital help, whatever little help they can give, because most of the equipment we have, the lenses are ours, everything is ours, but we still need some hospital help. And we get the help, we go to schools, we set up, Isabelle can explain that better than I can, because she's very passionate about this one thing that she saw, and she'll explain to you how this is done. But we form these things in the poorest places with the maximum amount of thing, and we need some government help. It's a big job to convince the governments that we are here only to help, and we have no other mandate and no other interest. We just want to eliminate blindness wherever we find it in the way that we've learned how to do at a very minimal cost. Darling, can you tell them about what I was just
the eye camps? So we would typically go and find a large hall, whether it's the village hall or an assembly hall within a school, and then we bring the equipment from the eye hospital and the surgeons and the anaesthetists, everybody, we bring everybody, and we set up camp there, and they have cooks outside with, you know, cooking on like open fires, and all the patients come on the first day. They all stay overnight on the floor in the assembly hall, and then the next day they go into the theatre. And we don't have, you know, the luxury of hospital beds, so the patient will be put onto the table and they'll do one eye, and then the medics will come and turn them back around the other way so they can do the other eye. So we get as much as we can to these locations, but it's pretty rural to the places we go to. Oftentimes they're sadly kept in an outhouse in the family home because it's a drain on the family's finances if they're blind and they can't work, and sometimes, you know, they're treated so poorly and almost like an animal. And yeah, so it's a real challenge finding them and then bringing them to the camps. We've had people arrive on the back of a bike. One man arrived on the back of his son's bike and they had to cycle for, you know, I think a day, and then another one came on the back of a donkey. So these are places, they're living so rurally in places that aren't accessible by car, so we have to get them to the camps.
So Jane, I've said this many times and I've been quoted. There are all forms of philanthropy, you know. Bill Gates and Melinda Gates epitomize what philanthropy should be, and they put their own money, which we do also. A lot of people want to, you know, give us money. We don't accept any money from anyone. We do it with our own money. But the biggest thing that I can say is that, tell people, is that get involved at the grassroots levels. Isabelle will tell you, I mean, this is something that's not known to many people. When I first met Isabelle 4.5 years ago, one of the best days of my life, from my perspective, she may think differently, was that I asked her if she was involved in charity. And what did you tell me, darling?
I said, yes, darling, you know, I go to galas, I wear a long gown, you know, I turn up, support the charity, buy some auction prizes. And Tej said to me, really, that's your idea of charity? Obviously there's a place for that, but he's taught me really that he believes in, you know, helping at a grassroots level and up, and that's what we really do with the foundation.
So 97% or 95 to 97% of all the money I give goes to the cause. Very little money is given to administration. Yes, we do pay our doctors some fee, and they take a very reduced fee than what they are worth. But some of them don't even take any money. They work elsewhere and they work part-time with us on camps and do it for free. And that's what I think my advice to people who want to do this. One thing I will tell you, it is it is the best bang for the buck in philanthropy. If you want to spend $1 million, I will challenge you. You will never find a cause more worthy, more penetrating, and more result-oriented and immediate result. It's like one day. you're finished, you can't see anything, and suddenly you're dancing with, Isabelle was dancing with all the wives and the husbands and mothers and fathers. I mean, it is just, we do 385 to 400 procedures a day. And the next day, at least in my few years of doing cataracts, and I think Isabelle will agree, we have never found one person who couldn't see after the surgery properly. So this is quite fulfilling. Remember, there are 400 people who are fixed every day, and each one of them have 4 or 5 people with them there. So the party that goes on, and they're grateful, they're hugging you, they're crying, and this is life moving, and for us the cost is minimal. So anybody who wants to do this, I would say please look into this form of philanthropy, grassroots, eye cure. There's a lot of need for that, and we are here to help. We'll give you our lenses free of cost. You go and do it on your own. Set up your own camps. The whole idea is we don't do this for people who can afford it. We do it for people who are poor, who have been put away somewhere, and we find them, we bring them. The transportation, as Isabelle said, is the most difficult. So there is a big need and a big solution for this form of blindness which plagues our society. So it fits in very well with the poverty. Do it at grassroots levels, and the ROI is the best. You can't spend $50 on anything and get such a good result, and it's very fulfilling.
Tej Kohli, Isabelle, thank you so much for joining me.